Simpsons' prediction for King Charles terrifies all and sundry. The Simpsons have a knack for sending chills down our spines. From principal technological breakthroughs to political upheavals, this iconic animated collection has blurred the road between satire and foresight over the decades. But now, a new idea has emerged that might be their most chilling prediction yet. One that ties immediately to King Charles III. Following the revealing of his hanging crimson-tinged portrait in 2024, fans and theorists alike are drawing eerie connections to an unforgettable Simpsons episode. Could this spell disaster for the British monarch on January 27, 2025? Buckle up due to the fact this adventure into the Simpsons' prophetic powers will go away you wondering wherein fiction ends and reality begins. The unveiling of a portrait shrouded in mystery. In May 2024, the sector paused as Buckingham Palace unveiled the primary reputable portrait of King Charles III in view, that is coronation. Painted via the renowned British artist Jonathan Yeo, the portrait became a masterpiece of contemporary symbolism and wealthy visual intrigue. It depicted the monarch in full Welsh Guards regalia, exuding authority and subculture. However, what clearly captivated audiences wasn't the meticulous detail of the uniform or the monarch's composed expression. It changed into the placing purple historical past that seemed to radiate an unsettling charisma. The crimson backdrop dominated the canvas, commanding interest and sparking heated debates. Traditionally, red is a color of electricity and passion, regularly associated with the monarchy and ceremonial grandeur. But in this example, the sheer intensity of the hue felt overwhelming. Social media erupted with reactions, with a few praising Yeo's ambitious, inventive choice, whilst others described it as scary or otherworldly. Adding to the intrigue was the sensitive butterfly perched above Charles's shoulder. Typically an image of transformation and hope, the butterfly's juxtaposition in opposition to the hellish crimson backdrop struck many as ominous in place of uplifting. Critics and commentators have been short to dissect every detail of the portrait, searching for hidden meanings. But in the photograph, the flowery caption rises up to meet the climate beneath the photo. With interpretations growing an increasing number of macabre, some could not help but draw parallels to every other source of eerie prophecy. The Simpsons. As the debates raged, the Simpsons prophecy became something that resonated maximum with the humans. This became no regular piece of artwork, it was a puzzle that demanded to be unraveled. But what precisely became this prophecy? By The Simpsons. Before we get to that, let's take a quick examine of The Simpsons' prophetic legacy to recognize why their cryptic prediction about King Charles may just be extra alarming than we can believe. For extra than 3 decades, The Simpsons has transcended its position as a satirical animated series, becoming something of a cultural oracle. Fans have marveled at its potential to predict the future with uncanny accuracy. From foreseeing technological advancements to political milestones, the show has a nearly supernatural recognition for blurring the line among comedy and clairvoyance. One of the most notorious examples of The Simpsons' foresight is the episode predicting Donald Trump's presidency. At the time of its airing in 2000, the idea of Trump as president appeared like pure satire, yet it came to fruition 16 years later. Similarly, the series has been credited with predicting smartwatches, autocorrect, or even the invention of the Higgs boson particle. These seemingly impossible predictions have left fanatics and theorists alike thinking whether the writers of The Simpsons owned a few hidden perception into the workings of the universe. The display's prescience does not stop at technology or politics. Episodes have eerily reflected international activities, from the FIFA corruption scandal to Lady Gaga's Super Bowl halftime overall performance. Even the COVID-19 pandemic appeared to have roots in a 1993 episode in which Springfield faces a virulent disease caused by the Osaka flu. These examples have cemented The Simpsons as greater than only a caricature. It's a phenomenon that taps into the zeitgeist in methods that defy rationalization. This brings us to the trendy idea, which connects King Charles III's haunting portrait to a selected episode of The Simpsons. As enthusiasts delved into the show's information, one episode specially stood out, a chilling depiction that seemed to mirror the monarch's red, soaking wet portrait. According to a big variety of human beings, this might be yet some other eerie instance of The Simpsons' capacity to look into the destiny. A hellish parallel, Mr. Burns in Treehouse of Horror 4. The uncanny connection between King Charles III's portrait and The Simpsons lies inside one of the collection's most iconic Halloween specials, Treehouse of Horror 4. Originally aired in 1993, this episode functions the section Bart Simpson's Dracula, where Mr. Burns assumes the role of a sinister vampire lord. The visuals are unforgettable. A gothic citadel bathed in fiery purple, mild, ominous shadows stretching across the display screen, and Mr. Burns himself enveloped in an infernal glow that radiates pure menace. In this phase, Mr. Burns is greater than only a villain. He embodies a malevolent force, thriving in surroundings drenched in red and shadow. The pink skies and hellish tones that dominate the episode evoke a feel of dread and inevitability. These pudding visuals have considering that come to be iconic, celebrated for their capacity to combination humor with proper horror. Fans quickly drew parallels between this fictional tableau and the real DCU mini-villains failed to punish the villains. Celebrated for their capacity to combination humor with proper horror, fans quickly drew parallels between this fictional tableau and the real global portrait of King Charles III. The shiny crimson heritage in each pics regarded to rouse the same feelings of unease and imminent doom. In the episode, the purple colors are used to symbolize chance and supernatural evil, casting a macabre pall over the storyline. The overwhelming purple in Charles's portrait has been interpreted as a foreboding sign, a warning of turmoil or disaster looming at the horizon. The resemblance is not simply restricted to color. Mr. Burns' gaunt, almost skeletal appearance as a vampire mirrors the stoic and solemn expression captured in Charles's portrait. Both figures exude an air of authority tinged with vulnerability, as though they're grappling with forces beyond their management. While Yo's creative choices were absolutely intended to awaken introspection and gravitas, the unintentional similarity to The Simpsons' hellish imagery has taken on an existence of its own, fueling hypotheses about the monarch's destiny. Interestingly, this motif of Mr. Burns' descent into hellish nation-states resurfaces in a later Simpsons episode, Burns' Cage, from season 25 episode. In this episode, we all over again discover Mr. Burns confronting his personal life, this time metaphorically whilst he glimpses an image of himself as a monarch in hell. The chilling mirrored image, embellished with a crown, scepter, and royal cape, accompanied through the caption, "See what you'll appear to be in hell," ties into the Treehouse of Horror 4 segment's visible motif. It's an unpicture soaking wet in infernal pink, and the sinister air of mystery that adheres to Burns in this scene mirrors the foreboding nature of the portrait of King Charles. The thought that both Burns and Charles could be grappling with forces past their know-how takes on new weight in light of this uncanny symmetry. In this episode, similar to inside the Bart Simpson's Dracula section, Burns is offered as a discern of titanic electricity, yet one whose very life is tied to a destiny sopping wet in shadow. Just as Charles's portrait would possibly evoke unease with its stark, unsettling tones, Burns' royal look, in Burns' Cage, suggests a ruler trapped in an internet of his very own advent, a ruler whose experience of control is probably in phantasm. Both images, in their own way, question the charge of power and the load of the crown. A royal portrait or a dark premonition? The greater intently one examines Jonathan Yo's portrait of King Charles III, the extra questions stand up about its deeper, which means. At first look, the portrait appears to be a party of tradition and continuity. The monarch's Welsh guards' regalia and composed demeanor bring a experience of duty and balance. Yet the encircling elements, specifically the shiny red history, introduce an unsettling evaluation. Red as a coloration consists of a multitude of meanings in artwork and subculture. It is the color of royalty, electricity, and right, often associated with the grandeur of the British monarchy. However, it's also the color of blood, danger, and destruction. In Yo's portrait, the red appears to dominate, overshadowing the parent of the king himself. However, because the chatter grew louder, January 27, 2025 became a cultural touchstone for those invested within the unfolding narrative. Videos titled "The Date That Will Change Everything" flooded TikTok, with creators hypothesizing everything from royal scandals to catastrophic